I'm going to bring in a few of our amazing students now, and they're all studying different courses from different walks of life. They've all got different stories to how they ended up at UA92. If anybody's, I'm going to ask them a few questions myself, but if you've got any questions that you would like answered about what it's like to be a real life UA92 student, then please do put them in the chat, and I'll put those questions to our fantastic students. So Daisy, Abs, Hummer and John, can you turn your cameras on? Are you there?
I'm here. Hello.
Are you all right?
My heart stopped for a moment then that you weren't going to be there, but you were. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm just going to go around you all one-to-one. If you can just introduce yourself, your names, what do you study, and we'll go from there. So Hummer, can you go first?
My name is Hima and I am doing business studies and I'm in year 2.
John?
Yeah, I'm John and I'm a second year sport and exercise science student.
Thank you. Daisy?
I'm Daisy and I'm a first year sport and exercise science student.
And Abs, last but not least.
All right, I'm Abs. I'm a second year journalism student.
Easy for you to say. Well, thank you very much for joining us, guys.
BBC
And we're getting heckled by a recording video over there, but we'll get through it. We'll get there together. Thank you very much for joining us, really. And you're all studying different subjects, which is great. So, Hummer, I'm going to start with you first of all. Obviously, I think it's customary at this point to say that we're living in unusual times. Of course, we all are, and we'd much rather be welcoming people onto campus today rather than in this format. But how's it been going for you? How are your studies going online, and how's your UA92 experience been over the last 9 months or so?
It wasn't really big change because since September till December we will still going into the university for like twice a week. So there wasn't like a big difference, but yeah, there was online classes as well, 2 days and then 2 days in campus. So I think the mixture was really well blended. So it wasn't a big massive change. The students cannot adapt or anything, and it was pretty much easy and quick. So it has been really good so far. I'm not sure really about future, like we're completely online since end of January, but the previous 4 months have been really good.
Good, that is good to hear. Yeah, that is one of the benefits of our timetable, is that we have that Wednesday anyway for digital work. So when we have to go completely online, it's not the shock to the system that it might be at another institution. John, everyone's getting used to these Zoom formats now and these video calls, and it felt so weird at the start, but now it's going to feel weird when you go back to meeting people in person. What tips would you give somebody who is learning online, maybe for the rest of their college year? How have you found it? What's the best way to go about it?
Yeah, I suppose it's kind of like the world that we're living in at the moment with COVID about, and everyone's just got to kind of accept that that's the way and try and like thrive under it, really. It is difficult, when you're in your own home, there's many distractions, you might want to go and play on the Xbox or the PlayStation or something like that, but you need to try and stay focused, basically. And obviously they give you plenty of breaks, so they give you the time to kind of shut down and maybe do something else for 10-15 minutes, and maybe just trying to use those times vitally, and just try and remain as focused as you can. I'm no expert in it, we've only been doing it for this year, really, so that's all I can really say.
Was that a confession to playing Xbox during the class? I couldn't quite work that out. That's just something that might happen.
No, that would never happen for me.
Okay, good. That's good to know. So Daisy, moving over to you next. Let's talk a little bit about the course in general. Let's not focus on Zoom and COVID. How have you found it? What did you expect? And has it sort of matched up with your expectations?
So sport and exercise science is quite a hands-on degree, so it has had to be adapted a little bit due to obviously COVID, but we still managed to do all our assessments and everything. We've just been more COVID compliant, obviously sanitizing, wearing masks and everything when we're doing everything. But I didn't expect to merge with the PE students at all, but for our first 3 blocks, we've been merged together with the PE students, which has actually been really beneficial because even though the two different degrees, we're kind of on the same path with there's just a little bit of difference, and it's allowed me to meet so many more people by mixing the two degrees. And a lot of my friends actually do the PE degree rather than the sport and exercise science degree. But the tutors are really understanding. They're absolutely amazing at their job, to be completely honest. And even though you're online, our lessons are so interactive. We get off into little groups and things like that. So it's been, not much has really changed, to be honest.
That's great. That's really good to hear. I mean, sorry to interrupting you. That is great to hear. And it's interesting what you say about the PE sports science mixing, because a lot of people that I speak to in my role in student recruitment, they struggle. Oh, am I going to do PE or should I do sports science? They can't make that decision. But with that crossover, you can come on one of the courses and you could, in theory, switch over to one of the other ones quite early on because you're studying the same modules. So that's good to hear. Abs, I'm going to come to you. You're one of our OG students. You're in our first cohort. So you remember us before we had to deal with what we're dealing with at the moment. What was it like being part of that very, very first cohort of students?
It was good. I had like a lot of adrenaline and a lot of palpitations, but it was good. And I felt like being part of the first cohort, it goes to show like, and I'm still here, second year. I've grown. It was a brand new thing for me, out of my comfort zone. Like everyone was in the same position, and it was a risk worth taking. I think for me, I've just grown, I've flourished, and I've gained like loads of new skills, met loads of new people. And for me, like just finding myself as well. I thought, I love UA92.
Well, we love having you as well, and it's great to hear. We're going to move on and talk about a few of the different sort of USPs. We're quite a unique and different institution, and we just want to talk to you guys about how that sort of materializes in day-to-day life. It's one thing us talking about it, you guys are actually living it. So let's talk about industry partners for a bit. We always talk about our degrees being industry informed. And Hummer, you're a business student. What opportunities have you had to be exposed to business and industry while you've been with us?
So in first year, we had we've been several times to KPMG, and it was really good experience, to be honest. We had a chance to listen to their employees and their backgrounds and how they ended up, and then the opportunities available, once you have graduated, and then think about the fields you want to go into. So it was really good, especially that during the lectures or during the lessons we had really help. For example, we were doing a finance and accounting module where everybody were struggling a little bit because some of the students did not have done it before. So we went to KPMG, we had an inside day, and everybody did some practicals, and they understood it more better, and which improved their overall assignment or their understanding as well.
Mm-hmm. And have you been outside of, obviously before lockdown, but were you able to visit any other places? Did you go and see KPMG for yourself?
No.
You've not been there yet. We took a group, didn't we? We took the student ambassadors, went to KPMG offices, and we did a bit of a workshop there. But it was always about getting out and getting the industry into campus as well, and getting you exposed to those lecturers. Abs, how about in media? What have you had the opportunity to do?
We've had a lot of opportunities. For example, last year we went to ITV Studios to get to see how the real life studio works. Obviously, I sat in the hot chair. I liked it. So you get to read an auto cue. We've had Trafford Council come in speaking about opportunities within the media industry. So one thing I did learn as well about media, as I want to be a presenter, I realised there's too many different roles, and we learned about all the different roles as well. So we had Sophie City coming about the social media side of things. We've had Gary Neville come in speaking about Sky Sports. And I think for me, the opportunities and the industry partners were endless. Like, you'll always remember it just because it gives you skills that you need. I never knew that there was like 10 different roles within the media industry or in a studio. Just because I want to be a presenter, I realised that there's so many different roles, and it's about gaining those transferable skills and putting it into practice. And that's one thing I realized with these interested partners and people who are coming in, they're giving us these skills that we need and we're putting it into practice and we're transferring it over to like other things that we need to do. For example, like since I've learned all this, we worked in a real life TV studio. I'm learning to read auto cues. I'm learning to edit now. So it's just about working with different like people who are coming in within the media industry and learning different roles and what to do.
That's fantastic. That's really, you couldn't have put it better, really. And I know you're working on a podcast as well at the moment with John. I am going to give you the opportunity to plug. Not quite yet, but you will get that opportunity to drop it in a moment. John, I am going to come to you just from a sports perspective. What opportunities, what guest speakers, what insight days have you had?
Yeah, so there's been plenty of guest speakers coming throughout the course. Like most noticeably is probably Phil Neville, obviously very famous football player, but at the time he was the head coach of the England women's national team. So, and at that time we were doing coaching module as well. So to be able to kind of get a chance to talk to him about what it is life as a top coach and stuff was very insightful. Also, I've had the opportunity to work with Foundation 92 as a community sort of sports coach in Salford. And that's through the links with UA92 as the sister kind of companies. So yeah, there's been plenty of opportunities that have come my way. And I think there has been plenty for other students as well. And I would only ever say that if you was to come to UA92 to try and take advantage of all those opportunities.
That last point is especially a good one. It's all well and good being shown these opportunities. It's you have to go out there and take them and make the most of them. Okay, so that was industry, and we've talked about the industry insight. Daisy, I'm going to come to you now as we just move on to talk about the timetable a little bit. We've got this AM, PM timetable, so you're only with us for 4 hours a day, whether that's in the morning or the afternoon, and then we have this block learning. I guess if you haven't been part of a traditional university, maybe you don't understand, or people might struggle to understand how revolutionary that timetable is. But how has it benefited you, this, especially the AM PM timetable?
Well, actually, I've got another job as well. So most people that know me know I'm a carer because everyone hears it all the time. So I've been able to continue to do that job whilst obviously studying, because it means I can tell my company, yes, I can only work in the afternoon because I'm a morning student. I can work in the afternoon every single day that you need me to. That's been really, really helpful. But talking about opportunities, recently Gary Neville posted a job like into our, for like people at our university to start working for his new brand Relentless. And I know loads and loads of people went for the job, and I was lucky enough to actually get one of his jobs that he offered. And it's been really, really beneficial to know that obviously I'm working in the morning at uni. So he now knows, okay, I can only work for him in the afternoon. And that was something that when I was talking to him throughout the interview process, he found really beneficial for him because he knew my set timetable. And it's something that employers really appreciate, I think, more than anything, because you can have a proper job, like you can have a set timetable in a workspace whilst being able to study as well. So you can live two proper lives. You can be a student, but you can also have a proper job, which I
100%.
think really
yeah. I mean, congratulations on getting the job with Gary. I didn't realize you'd done that. That's brilliant. Well done. And you're completely right. You know, I had a job when I was at university. I worked at a supermarket in the bakery, which was all well and good. And I got a bit of pocket money, but, you know, it's no longer on my CV. It didn't really help prepare me for the job that I do now in any way. But having that half a day free every day allows you to get some real experience, a proper job that you can put on your CV. So congratulations, you're even busier than you were before.
Hello.
Humo, how's this AM PM timetable work for you? Has it been advantageous?
So just like Daisy, when I joined last year, I was doing a part-time job as well, so I could carry on doing that. I remember when I was in college in second year, I had to leave the job just because my timetable wasn't really suitable. So it's really helpful that I can work like, since I'm in the PM student, I can only work like in the morning or the weekend, and then I know that in the afternoon I have fixed lessons and that's I cannot miss. So it's really like flexible as well. Anything you else want, even though if you're not doing any job, if you have any other responsibility, you know that you have that free time, certain time you can do that and them on that time.
Brilliant. Good for you guys. Right. So we're going to have just a few more minutes with our students. So if anybody watching has any questions for these guys, please pop them in the chat as soon as you can, and I'll get them to them. But my last question for you guys is about your journey to UA92 and any top tips. So obviously we would be at an important time of the university application process. The UCAS cycle would be at an important time anyway. But given what's going on at the moment, and UCAS have just extended their deadline, it's possibly even more important than before. And you've all got different stories and how you ended up with us. So let's talk about personal statements for a moment. That's a big part of the application process. Ads, do you remember writing your personal statement? What tips would you give to someone when they're starting to write their personal statement?
I say get it proofread, talk about things that have happened, like even though it's the smallest thing. For example, if you volunteered, write that, and talk about opportunities that you've had, even though you're not had a real job as such, if you volunteered, real life experiences, and just be honest. I always say just be honest, and always get it proofread by your teacher or whoever you like living at home, but always be honest and just think about how would you take to a person. For example, even if it's a small little experience, still mention it, because the smallest thing can count towards your place at the uni, if that makes sense. And just don't be stressed over it. I know it's easier said than done, but personal statement, for me, I find it's what sells you the most on the UCAS application. Not your grades really as such. Obviously they're important, but the personal statement sells you the most. And it's about selling yourself and just doing it in order of like, think about what you've done. First start off in bullet points and then just start working on that.
Yeah, I think that's good advice. Completely agree. It can be a bit of a daunting thing having to speak about yourself and your achievements, but you just have to get started with it. My colleague Katie's going to be giving some tips out as well in a little bit. And if anybody ever needs any advice or help on the personal statement, you can just email us hello@ua92.ac.uk and we'll give you some support with that as well, and just read it through if that helps. John, you're slightly older, very slightly older, but you came to us as a mature student. What tips would you give to someone who's coming back to university a little bit later in life?
Yeah, like you said, I'm a bit older. I'm 26, so I was out of education for 7 years, working, and I wanted to come back just because I play football, and as many people know, football is quite a short career. You tend to retire 35, 40 or something. So I wanted to be able to get a degree and potentially further once I finished my degree, to get a job in industry basically. And obviously UA92 was a new university when I first started, and I wanted to be part of something new. But yeah, I won't lie, it was a bit tricky at first. You know, you walk in, you don't really know anybody. It's quite daunting. You might think, oh, am I a bit too old for this or whatever? But you slowly start to get back into the swing of things. There's a lot of support from tutors, or if it's like mental health, there's wellbeing officers. And it kind of replicates more of a school setting with the smaller based classrooms as opposed to large lecture theatres full of people. So in that aspect, that kind of helped me. But yeah, it is a struggle, but it's something that you will overcome if you are a mature student, and I'm sure you'll be successful at UA92 as well.
We just had a comment as well from Bianca in the chat saying that she's a mature student too. Yeah, you certainly wouldn't be alone. As John said, there's John and there are plenty of others who are choosing this time to return to education for a number of reasons. So, and especially with the timetable as it is, it allows for a lifestyle beyond university at the same time. So great stuff. Daisy, I'm going to come to you just for some last words. What advice would you give to someone who's considering UA92, doesn't know if it's for them? What advice would you give to them?
So I didn't actually see myself coming to university this time last year because I was going through some really bad mental health struggles. And all I can say about UA92 is the fact that they really genuinely care, and you will not feel more cared about by a university than you do at UA92. So if it's something you're worried about due to your mental health, or you're worried that you're not going to make friends, I felt exactly the same. I moved into my own apartment at West Point, and I just didn't think I was going to make friends with anyone. Within the first day, I made so many friends that I still talk to now, that I spoke to all over Christmas. And it's really, my only advice is to just, I know it's a lot more easier said than done, but try not to worry and just push yourself out there, because you don't know if you don't try.
And that's a beautiful way to put it, and a really nice way to end. Thank you very much for that, Daisy. I just want to say a big thank you to Hummer, Daisy, Abs and John for joining us this evening. Really do appreciate it. And thank you guys for getting involved in the chat. Our students are available to talk to all the time, anytime on Unibuddy. So that's ua92.ac.uk/Unibuddy. You can just send them a text on there and they'll get back to you and they'll answer any questions.